few days, but they have certainly been some days. Just watched the video between Josh Lee Kwai and the professor. And, like, honestly, I was just kind of, like, chilling. Like, aside from maybe talking about foundations, I didn't really have much to say. But after watching the video, especially when I was pretty excited about what these two guys were going to discuss, I didn't really expect it to turn into an instant, like, let's reprimand Josh Lee Kwai for daring to say that the Rules Committee might have caused their own atrocities. And I was just sitting there going, no, Josh, why? You were so based with your take. And it's like, I do understand a little bit of where the professor was coming from, where Josh seemed to be pretty heated. And he was, to be fair. He wasn't, like, cool, level-headed all the way, but, I mean, for someone who's upset, let's just assume extremely upset, like, he was pretty chill. But he still, like, expressed his frustrations, which is what I totally jammed with and agreed with. Like, he has every right to be mad at the Rules Committee for all the craziness that's happened, essentially. Now, obviously, the harassment stuff is a little bit of out of their hands, of course. And he, absolutely condoned it at the start, as everyone else has. But, like, the professor was like, so what did you do wrong? And then Josh was like, I said that the RC had some responsibility, like, part of this was their fault. And then the professor goes, and isn't that something you shouldn't do? I don't know. And I know he wasn't using that kind of tone, but my God, it's just like the annoying mother who, like, caught you doing something wrong, and instead of just saying, hey, don't do that again, just kept on going, like, yeah, what you did was wrong, you were a bad boy, but that's okay, we forgive you. Like, oh Lord, oh, so painful to watch. And so, like, I believe Josh had every right to be upset. All of this whole debacle started because of the RC's very bad mistake, okay? Very bad mistake. And then they made another huge mistake on top of that bad mistake, and now it's just a big shit pile. And a majority of it is from their actions. I'm sorry. The community wouldn't lash out if they did nothing. You know that's true. And of course, it's like, some stuff went too far, obviously, and them quitting is fine. I'm okay. Like, if you see my other videos, you know that they could wake up one morning, have some, like, eggs for breakfast, and decide, hey, I don't want to be on the Rules Committee anymore. That's fine. They didn't have to stay. So, especially when things were so serious, like, they were fearing for their lives and their families' lives, and, like, absolutely, like, quit that shit. Like, I get it. I'm with them with that. Even if, like, this is, like, their own doing, it's still understandable. Like, you shouldn't feel unsafe, especially for something you're just volunteering for, So I get it. Like, I understand, but the blame, at least a good portion of the blame, should still be laid on their feet. And Josh, again, still has every right to be upset at them for not consulting him. What's the point of him being on the Commander Rules Committee or whatever? No, the CAG or whatever. If they didn't even talk to them, the Rules Committee didn't talk to them, like, of course Josh should be pissed. He had every right to be pissed. So it hurt seeing him like kowtow, or at least that's what it felt like to me, and essentially like reject his previous opinions because of course the professor called it victim blaming. You know at one point sometimes people fuck up, and they should maybe take accountability for what they do. Sitting here like, oh, it's victim blaming. Well, sometimes people are the victims of their own stupidity, okay? That's not anyone else's fault but their own. And if you care about said people and want them to do well, you gotta just come out and admit it. Like, hey, bro, you fucked up. You messed up. It happens, of course. You're just human, but, it's not my fault. So disappointing. So disappointed. But like I do like Rachel's analogy of the commander being a cute kitten at once that the community took care of and then turned into a tiger that they didn't know how to control. That's a pretty decent analogy. But if we would like to continue with this analogy, no, screw you, bus. Screw you, school bus. I don't move for you. I don't move for you. Nope, you're gonna wait. Never give a school bus room. No, they're jerks. Anyway. Yeah, if we're going to go with the tiger analogy, what I'm like, okay, if you let a tiger loose, okay, and it attacks someone, it harms someone, how much of that is your fault? I mean, obviously, it's the tiger is the one that attacked, but do we blame the tiger completely for its actions? And I know that's kind of terrible to say. That's like saying, well, of course the commander community would ravage out and be terrible people to the, I'm not equating that at all. But what I'm saying though is they agitated the tiger. They did not do a good job of caring for the tiger. Now, I get what Rachel's analogy was basically, they didn't know it was a tiger. They didn't understand that this community would be so vicious. So fair, that's fair. Absolutely fair. I get that, I'm with them on that, I agree. But I don't think it was a simple like, oh no, it's a tiger now. Like, oh no, it just randomly started attacking us. It's like, no. And of course, in the analogy, you let the tiger out of a cage. But let's just say the tiger's already out of it. Like, this is a chill tiger. Like, this tiger was cool. I mean, it was so cool, you didn't even think it was a tiger. But then the rules committee just went up and smacked it in the face. And then they're just so flabbergastedly shocked that the tiger, like, got pissed and ran around and bit people. And of course, it's like, oh, we didn't mean for that to happen. Well, you kind of did. You were stating that commander needs to be this way, so we're going to do this to make sure it's this way. AKA, you messed with the damn tiger. And guess who it hurt? Guess what hurt? It hurt the competitive players, whom they said they didn't give a shit about. But, surprise, surprise, they're the ones that got hit the most as far as, like, rules. And maybe your occasional casual commander, but it barely affected them. And the other people it hurt were LGSs. It hurt them a lot, the ones that were sitting on a lot of singles. But of course they're like, oh, we didn't intend for that to happen. Well, why'd you slap the cat? And of course, the people are like, oh, what are the investor bros? Like, okay, fine, you know what, those people can, suck it up into a sense. Like, I still feel bad, that shouldn't have happened. Those cards shouldn't have been at risk, but that is kind of what happens when it comes to this type of investing. So I get it. So like the professor going all like, oh, that they should be without blame. You should never blame people for their mistakes. It's so bad. It's bad thinking. That's terrible logic. And it reminded me of a video I just saw from Homath, if you follow him at all on YouTube. He's doing some intellectual dives on like why society is the way it is, and he released his second part of Self-Maximizing, which is an interesting series you should check out. But he talks about these scales of morality, and one that was based off of a scientist. And I'm going to show you guys in my very basic way to do this here. Hold on. Hello. Okay. So yeah, right here, it has like the levels of how people decide or figure out what's right and wrong to do. So it starts at the bottom with avoiding punishment. So you just do things so you don't get hurt. Self-interest, you do things, that benefit you. But then you realize that if you do things well enough, you get to be the good girl or the good boy. So you do what other people want you to do. You're a good girl, good boy. But what's above that, you should notice, is that it's law and order. So there's you start to understand that across most people, including yourself, there's a way you should do things, and that should be like what everyone follows. And then of course you go higher than that, which is the social contract, meaning regardless of the rules, there should be an adjourning thing, which is basically the discovery principles, which I thought. But the important thing is in the middle there, which is the good boy into the law and order morality. So let me get you back to me here. So what that shows is that Josh was trying to hold the RC accountable for what they did. Again, not that anyone wishes tragedy on people. No one should want that, okay? Hence why everyone's like, no harassment, don't do it. Everyone and their grandma, which is fine, I guess. We need to really state the obvious. So no one's like wishing for tragedy, but if someone is just going to blindly walk around their house and they know that they could fall down some stairs, and they do. Sure, you hope they don't fall down the stairs, but when that inevitably happens, you're like, I mean, it was kind of inevitable. It was kind of going to happen. You piss off a lot of people. Some people are really crazy and they're going to get really mad at you. So there is some blame to put on the RC's feet. And I'm upset that the professor went to the good boy thing. No, we should respect everyone's feelings, and people just make mistakes, and just let them go, and you should be a good boy, Josh, and you shouldn't victim blame. And it's a regression. It's a regression of the very slow but hopefully positive progression of understanding and morality and things we deal with on a daily basis. And the fact that, I feel like I vibe with Josh Lee Kwai on him, hey, someone needs to be fucking accountable for this stuff. And if we just let it go because some bad stuff happened to people, they're not going to grow. It's ideological stuff like this, which is what I think led to a decision like what happened. I am stuttering. So the logic of let's not hold people accountable and have them think about their decisions and their actions and make sure that they take responsibility for them, is what led to the whole, we believe Commander should be this way, hence we're banning these cards. Oh shit, we made the wrong decision, let's just bail. Instead of taking accountability. Hey, you're a community-led group. Why just disband? Why not ask WotC for help or protection if you're getting harassed so much? Why not just say, hey man, we're going to step out. Does anyone else want to fill in? But that the fact that they just said, nah, bro, this is too hard, and just gave up. It's like bad thinking, bad logic. It's you traded one mistake for a worse one, essentially. So, yes, Josh Lee Kwai was right when he was upset at them, and he should stay upset at them. I think that's fair. It's not victim blaming. Oy. While that does happen, obviously, where people are just victims of terrible circumstance, yes, that does happen. I'm going to say a majority of the time, and it's not like 99%, but it's a high majority of the time that if people end up in a fucked up situation, they are partly to blame for it, okay? And why not? That might not be the happiest thing to let people know of the mistakes they've done, including yourself, by the way. It's what's necessary to get better, to not make mistakes in the future. You have to point that out. You have to go, oh damn, I really messed up. Let's not do that again. If you just you keep falling down the stairs and people just keep forgiving you, you just keep letting out tigers that eat children. Okay, sorry, that's too far. But if you keep making these mistakes and not trying to fix them, they're just going to keep going on and on and on and on. And as long as anything bad happens to you, you're just instantly forgiven. It's so stupid. But I need to say, though, that Josh Lee Kwai is a human who also does make mistakes, and I do understand the social pressure. Well, I don't understand the social pressure he's under, but I do understand social pressure that comes with trying to balance a healthy social life while also trying to uphold your own principles. And that's a struggle like everyone deals with on the regular, for sure. So I get it. Like, if I was in his situation, getting lectured on by the professor, I don't know if I would have sat there and gone, no, I'm going to blame the RC for their mistakes. I may have been like, I do see your point of view, professor. I know a lot, how it's hard for them right now to be in this situation, and it's difficult for them to be criticized by me at this time. I would sit there and do my best to agree with the professor on as many facets as I could, but I would still try and hold the reservations of it was still partly their fault. It really was. I can agree with the professor, if I was Josh at the time, that I was heated. I shouldn't have been heated. I would have agreed with him on that. But seriously. And Josh has gone through this before. I know he has. When things just start not making sense and you have to sit there and just nod your head and go, yeah, sure, I guess it makes sense. Josh has had to go through that many times. So I forgive him as a fellow human, knowing how difficult, in some sense, his situation is. So I'm not going to be mad at him or pissy. I'm just disappointed. And I'm not too shocked about the professor being the white knight of this situation, and and the fact that he does not want to use the word responsibility or accountability is also interesting. But he was basically placated and happy because Josh, bent to his ideals, and it was just a pleasant conversation afterwards for the most part. But yeah, no, I'm just upset. And as far as the foundations coming out, I don't really know what to say. If they do really get, people focused, wow, you were just flying like a bat out of hell. If they get people focused back into standard, that's cool. It's not my format, but I'm actually partly happy that we're going to get a set that's not focused on Commander, honestly. We've got way too much crap to deal with in Commander right now. I'm so glad we have something that's just not looking at it. So I'm actually a little happy about that. Oddly. I'm glad that there's not Commander product coming out, or at least there shouldn't be. If there is, then never mind. Then I'm disappointed again. But anyway, I need to go buy some stickers. Yes, I need to. This is a need. Don't judge me. And yeah, see you later.